Merry Christmas Eve, everyone, and welcome to the Simply Colorful FiberCast. Today's date is January 24th, 2015, and my name is Lynn Marquardon, and I'm your host. So, surprise! I figured we have a few hours, actually. I have a few hours, not just 1 hour, to do some catching up and working on the sampler quilt. And I have so many different things to tell you, including Santa's coming to town, and it's almost 70 degrees here in the Northeast. I really wanted to play some Christmas music, but as you know, from the 4th episode, that is frowned upon in YouTube land unless you do it yourself. So, without further ado, jing-ling-a-ling-a, jing-ling-a-ling-a, jing-jing-jing-ling-ling. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. And I have the lyrics in front of me, but I won't put you through that. So thanks for joining, everyone, and we have a lot to get caught up on. And don't you love these? These would make for great dog training bells put on your door, and the dogs can learn how to ring it when they have to go to the bathroom. Did you know that? Dogs can be taught a lot. Okay, so, oh, I hear a ding. Is someone out there? I had to plug in my phone. My bells were so low. Hey, Jean, hi. She says, Happy Merry Christmas Eve. I'm binding the 300th quilt and watching Christmas specials on my DVR with my family. That's awesome. And she's headed to a family party. Later, life is so good sometimes. Isn't that the truth? Merry Christmas to you and to all the FiberCasters. A special thoughts for those not on the at the table this year, and extra love to those who are missing them. Very nicely put. So, let me put this away, and let's talk about the sampler quilt and week 4. Now, I pulled out my notes, and to tell you the truth, after I've done 2 of these sampler quilts, and I love it, by the way, and maybe I'll do another one. I'm definitely keeping these 2 sampler quilts to show when we go on for our quilt trunk shows. But meanwhile, I know that we didn't officially go through week 4 again after we had to pull down the week 4 that had the Christmas carols that were copywritten. So, and I'm not going to redo it all because I've done 2 samplers, but I did pull out my notes. And for everyone on the back wall, here's the finished sampler. And week 4 was the bottom row. So if you look at the picture of the whole sampler, it's the bottom squares. And frankly, 2 of the 3 squares, the little ones, are so easy. This one is a square and a square, and it's literally, if you go to the Simply Colorful website, download the full-size paper piecing template. Karen posted them up there. This is the easiest way to do it. And literally, as you know, you flip it over, you start to put fabrics here, and then with a very small stitch, you just stitch around, starting with 1 and going out. I think is it A1 or is it 1? Let's see. A1. So it's A1 there, and then A2, A3, A4, A5, A6, A7, A8, A9. Some of them, the rotating ones, are a little trickier, but this one's very straightforward. So that's the square and the square. We've done that before. Paper piecing, have a blast. I guess the only tip I might have is if you really want it to stand out, make sure you alternate really darks and really light fabrics. So that's that. Now, the second one is the turnstile or pinwheel. And this one is just simply cutting. This is a 1-pager also available on the website, and it simply involves cutting 2 strips and then cutting squares. And the 2 strips do have very specific sizing, but you know what? I found, well, you just have to be careful. I didn't find the 1/16 of an inch too much of an issue, but basically you have to cut out 2 squares that are 3 7/8 by 3 7/8 and then cut them in half. And then you have to cut out 2 squares that are 4 3/16 inches square and then cut them in diagonals, and you end up with your turnstile. It's a really neat block. You can do a lot of fun kind of making the pinwheel look like it's suspended in air by picking different fabrics that really contrast one another. Or you can do like I goofed behind me, I think, if I can tell from looking at the camera, like the green and gray over there kind of melds away because they're both medium value fabrics. So I didn't follow my own rule, which was to pick some fabrics that were more contrasting so that you could really see the pinwheel. But sometimes you want that. Sometimes you want to engage the viewer or the person looking at your art to come up and look a little more closely. That's one way to justify it. So that's the turnstile. Again, I'm not going to do it. It's on the Simply Colorful website. Then the third one definitely could give you agita. But it's basically like seminal piecing. It is just a set of 1, 2, 3, 4 of 5 blocks. So it's this square right here. 5 blocks set on an angle and sewn together in off 1 block in each one. So my recommendation here, and the instructions are beautifully laid out for you again on the Simply Colorful website. You'll see it's for the 2015 Sampler Quilt, and what you need are strips of fabric that are 2 5/8 inches long, and then sew them, 5 of them together in a long row, and then cut them 2 5/8 inches across, and then stagger them, sew them all up, and then trim off the edges. Now the trimming off the edges is the most difficult part, I found. I erred on not trimming enough, and then when I went to put the pieces together, I literally pinned them, and I used my other side that I put this against to help me further trim it up. So for example, on this top, what is this called? Diamond stripe. For this top diamond stripe, see that right there? What I did was I cut these greens too far off so that the seam probably that I had left was 1/2 inch. Then I did this Ohio star, and here my seams were good. I had only 1/4 inch. Well, they were pretty good. It looks like I kind of missed it a little bit there. I used that one to go back and then systematically pin each of these corners so that I only had 1/4 inch left on the green, on the diamond blocks. So I did have to do a little fussy cutting at the end. Other people can measure it perfectly. That's just the way I did it, because you know that I kind of wing things. And so that's that. Really fun. If you caught last week's episode, you saw that Karen made a few of these that were a bit too small, but ultimately it ends up you want the 2 5/8 strips, and you can make them very easily. I might suggest for those of you who maybe haven't made them all, make them all at once. For 3 different weeks you need to make some of these diamonds. And once you get into the routine, it's easy. So that's week 4 of the sampler. Now, fast forward ahead, and last week when we did our final piecing week, week 6, you saw Karen do actually this final Ohio star, and it was so nice to have her in the studio. As you may or may not know, she had driven all the way from Pennsylvania that day. I had worked, my mother had just arrived, we had just hung up the tree before we came on to FiberCast. So quite frankly, I was tired, but it was so fun to see her, and I love her quilt. I thought it was very interesting when she put her quilt up, and I had one of my sampler quilts up. Hers were all crisp and clean and beautifully ironed. It looked beautiful. Mine were practically falling off the edge of the table, or the back there. So I thought that was kind of funny, and I just love hers. So that was one thing that I wanted to share with you. And then I also wanted to share something that outside of where you see this camera is the rest of the Simply Colorful studio. It's not that big, but I have a lot of different things going on, and you know me, I switch from fiber-related craft to fiber-related craft, and I justify it by saying there's always fiber involved. You know, sometimes it's because I'm eating Metamucil, but that's another story. Just kidding. So when Karen and my mother got here on that Friday, last Friday, this place was a disaster zone. It hadn't been vacuumed. There were just piles everywhere. So I am so pleased to report that for the last few days, I have been cleaning up and putting things in their place. I bought lots of little plastic grid things where I could put my floss in and my beads and my doll making stuff. And I think I'm ready to show you the studio next week. So stay tuned for that. So that's that. Now before we get to next week and ringing in the new year, because as you know, FiberCast coincides with, is this right? Oh yeah, it coincides with January 1st. Did I get that right? Or is it New Year's Eve? Hang on. I know you're all out there yelling at me. Duh. Let's see the calendar. Yeah, next Friday night will be New Year's Day. And so I am hoping to have a sewing marathon here, and I am going to invite you into the studio, and I'm going to swivel the camera around and show you. It'll still look messy, believe me. This is a work in progress, but I'm going to show you the Simply Colorful studio. And anyone who's in the area, come by and sew with me. We're going to have fun. We're going to be doing something new, or we may be working on a boatload of projects that I found for which there's one little step left before I call it done. And I may do that for a week or two because our mystery, our Oh Baby Baby mystery, starts in the middle of January. So that's the plan. And between now and next week, I have a couple of sampler quilts that I need to quilt. And this is going to be fun. Oh, and did you see my outfit? I'm all ready for the family party tonight. And I just heard a ding. Are you out there? Oh, Apple needs to update my iPhone. iOS, remind me later. And I can turn this off. Hey, Peggy, in Australia, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, it's so nice to see you. She says, it is Christmas Day for us in Australia, and it's 5 a.m. Oh, so Santa's been there. Is the coffee on? I went to Simply Colorful, and there was this champion of ours, Lynn, doing week 4. Lynn, you are so faithful to us, your viewers, and let me publicly say thank you. You are a delight, and we love this show. Thank you, Peg. Oh, what a nice thing. Merry Christmas. I'm so glad you're out there. I hope you have a wonderful day. Ooh, and Santa just fell. Hang on. Oh, now I have to get up. Just like last time. That wasn't good last time. Hang on. As a joke, I'm wearing capris to tonight's Christmas party. See my green capris? I wear sandals, but my foot hurts. Peggy, so nice to know you're out there. Can you believe we're going to start on our 3rd year? Blows me away. Okay, so remember, you may have seen this one doll. I have a doll update before I get to machine quilting. This doll is the one that Barb made for me, and she's a skater. And look at how tall she is. I wanted to show you that she's pretty big. And then just this week, my friend Sarah, who has taught me doll making, made me a Santa Tilda. So I'm thrilled. They've been on our mantelpiece, and I just wanted to show you. Isn't she so funny? She has really, really, really long arms. I think that's so funny. It's just like that Saturday Night Live skit. Okay, so those are dolls. Where are we going to put these guys? See, everything has a place now that I've cleaned up my studio. I literally found myself opening boxes and there would be one pin, one button, and a pen in one random corner. So then I would walk across the studio and I would put the button where the buttons go, the pin where the pin goes, and the pen where the pen goes. And I'm sure there is an illness for this, but I'm feeling really good once I get everything in its place. So, oh, Peggy, that just made my day. So glad you're out there. Okay, so before we came on, I set up the Bernina. I've missed her. I had her covered, and although she's still a little dusty. And I chose from a number of different threads that I had on hand. You know, this is a sampler. Oops. I didn't want to buy anything new, really. And I thought I would start with, I thought I was going to use this Coates & Clark 40 weight. And you probably can't tell, but it has the green and red. And what I discovered when I wound the bobbin is it has a lot of gold. And this version of my sampler definitely does not have any gold. So I'm going to save this one. I think I can use it on the one that has more of the olivey green. Because my eye, you know, your eye can play tricks on you. You don't have to use olive green. You can actually use yellow and a little bit of a greener color. Put them together in your quilting, and your eye will read it as that olive green. So it's something I might do. So then I looked and I found this. Didn't have yellow in it. It was a signature 40 cotton mercerized long staple. Love this thread for quilting. I use Aurifil 50 usually for my piecing unless I'm trying to use up my excess thread. So I wound the bobbin and I have this much left. So that's what I'm going to start with because I like those colors. And then I'll probably switch to just this big ball of green. And then I have some decorative, more like the rayon-y, and this is even metallic, that I might play with down the road. Maybe on some of the houses or something if I think I want to adorn it a little bit more. So, and I did not do a test stitch because I realized I was really running late. I thought I would get this up and going at 1:30, and then it just took me a while to get started. Oh, and Karen said last week, remember last week I didn't do anything? Well, I had gotten this all ready last week, so I don't know why I didn't show you. But this is what I pieced the back for this one. And it's just random red and black pieces I had. Again, no yellowy, no olivey green. I'll save that for the one behind me. And I've pinned it every couple of inches apart. I haven't even basted it. I've just used pins to baste it. And then what I'm going to do, oh, and I've put a new needle in. I've wiped out the lint on this machine. This machine I don't do much oil in. They put grease in it when they work on it. You know, and I'm even going to, I am going to do a test. It's been months, literally, since I've used this machine, and I noticed it's slower than the one I was using. But I can definitely get used to it. Okay. So, I also have some fabric here for dolls that I have to cut up. But let's just cut, knowing my luck, I'll cut right out of the back here. And you know what? It's time to get down to work. Oh, Peggy. It's almost as balmy probably as it is in Australia right now. It's unbelievable. Allie, also from Australia, is caravanning this week. I don't know if you've seen that, Peggy, but it's fun to watch her. Oh, the other thing I've started doing since last week, and you want to talk about something humbling, is I'm using my left foot for my quilt pedal until I get a knee pedal, on the theory that maybe that's one of the culprits of my sore foot. We'll see. All right, so I bring all of my threads to the front. I have my stitch regulator on. I'm going to put the knot on. Oh, I didn't put my feed dogs down. Jeez, you'd think I'd never sewn before. Okay, now let's try it. Okay, I have it on BSR 1. So far, so good. The stitches are not regular though, so how am I gonna put it on BSR 2? Nice. Yep, it's working. All right, the only other thing I have to do is reach behind me to get my gloves. These gloves, probably, well, I was going to say it might be time for new gloves, but that'll be next Christmas. See, they work fine. Oh, this one has a hole in it, but still. They have lots of little grippies here made out of rubber stuff, and they're great. They help move your quilt around. And the reason I say I'm going to wait till next year for Christmas is because a few weeks ago, I announced that I wanted a new cutting mat. And I am just hoping and praying that Santa brings me a cutting mat. Okay, so I've done my test. Let's see on the back. Back looks pretty good. You know, for a home machine quilt, it looks fine. It does the trick. So, literally, I'm going to start with these trees. Talk about a perfect size to practice your quilting on. This is a good size, and I'm using a polyester batting, the very thinnest, so it's not heavy. And I've got kind of a darker thread, so I'm going to, on these trees, figure out how to make trees, the branches of the tree. This takes practice, and I have not been doing this. Oh, I know why. Okay. There we go. Fun. And then you'll see, notice I literally, actually I don't know if you could see, I hope you can. I went right around the pin and kind of over it. And I should have my box of pins. Sometimes I take them out when I'm right there, sometimes I don't. Okay, now I'm at the top, and I don't know if you can see this, but the thread is pretty dark, what little I have left on the top, so I'm not going to go into the gray. I'm probably going to switch to a gray top stitch for that. Instead, I'm going to go up here into the Ohio Star with the dark color, and then I'm probably going to go around the edge. Well, no, I'm not going to do that. What am I going to do? It says star motifs. Let's try a few star motifs. Talk about improvising. And then I realized I needed to get this pin out of here. This is going to be good. I'm just going to tool away on this. And like I say, you won't recognize, KB, if you're out there, you won't recognize the studio. So I'm making the cross-like stars. Very fun. If you haven't done this in a while, I strongly suggest you do it. And hopefully your sampler is to a point where you can. Okay, there's that. Now I think I'm going to go back down and go into the other tree. Okay. As I do this, let me try to remember some things I was going to tell you all. Why is there, oh, that's why there's resistance. I'm out of thread at the top. Lift this up. You see that? I know you can't, but it's looking fine. Oh, another thing I did, you're going to be so proud of me. I had a huge bin of old fabric upstairs in the attic. Like I just have one bin, right? Well, I made progress. I emptied one bin that was actually broken. It was plastic and it split apart. I washed all the fabric in it, and I've divided it into two, half of which is going to Kathy K. So I know I'm late. I know you asked for it before Christmas, and I hope I didn't goof up your plans. But there's a box of random scraps that will be on their way to you, I guess, on the 26th. I've said that before, but I should be able to get it in the mail then. Okay. So, what color are we going to use now that we still have the variegated in the bottom? I think we're going to go with this green. And we'll just stick to a lot of the dark areas for now. There we go. So you may wonder where Bob is. He worked out in the wood shop this morning, and then he came in, he took a shower, and he's out Christmas shopping. And then I told him I would be ready at 5:30, and that's when we will go to his brother's house. How many of you are doing a nice fish dinner tonight? Or what are you doing tonight? Going to family open houses? Or in the morning? Or when do you open your presents? Do you give presents anymore? My aunt sent all of us, my aunt, one of my aunts in Vermont, my father's sister, sent us a lovely note. It was a good reminder. I have to remember to use my left foot here. And it was a letter that she shared with us that she sent to her son in 1979 about how Christmas is different every year. And we had to remember that. And if you spend too much time, and again, Aunt Jane, these are your thoughts, and I love them, so I'm sharing them. What I took away from it is enjoy this Christmas. It's you can try not to think about too much about Christmas, what past Christmases have been, or what future Christmases will be like. Because that's time spent away from, just as Jean said in her text, enjoying the time right now. And the beauty and the wonder of new babies. Anyway, that's as deep as I'm going to get. Ooh! I'm thrilled. The machine isn't gobbling it up yet. Okay, so these are stripes, so I'm going to kind of stick to the stripiness, or the plaidiness. For me, for this sampler, the whole point of the quilting is to tack it in place and not get in the way of the piecing, because I've liked the piecing. You could alternatively create piecing that would just be your background for some beautiful quilting, if that makes sense. Okay. This next piece of fabric that I'm meandering into has holly leaves on it, so I'm going to do some holly leaves. And this is really an application where we could use an overhead camera, isn't it? So you could see it. Whoop. Okay, now I'm back to the plaid. So I should look at my notes. I made notes of what I wanted to tell you today. Now it dropped. Oh, the mouse. I think I'm going to have a soda. Cheers. Okay, let me look at my notes here. What else was I going to talk to people about? Oh, and I may have some email. Okay, so we did the jingle bells. Copywriters, take that. Okay, we talked about the sampler 4-week finish. Let's see, I did have a couple of notes here that I wanted to share with people. Tiffany wrote, she wishes everyone a Merry Christmas, and she enjoyed the last FiberCast with my sister, and she finished her son's super king-size quilt, but she wrapped it before taking a photo. She said she will send us a photo later in the year, after Christmas. I cannot wait. And she also said, Tiffany said she's going to start a Dear Jane with her oldest daughter, Crystal, and her sister, Lenora, after Christmas. That is going to be fun. We will definitely, there are many Fibercasters who are doing Dear Jane. We will definitely have some Dear Jane episodes. In fact, I bet we can fit one in before the mystery quilt starts, in the middle of January. What? Oh, I meant to look up the date when our mystery quilt starts. Well, Dear Jane, that's excellent. Anyway, she says, apparently we are getting a cyclone and lots of much-needed rain on Christmas Day, so I hope your weather is lovely for you and your family. Enjoy your break, and cheers from Australia, and looking forward to FiberCast in the new year. Well, thank you, and as I'm reading to this, Merry Christmas, Tiffany. Cassandra, hi. Cassandra saw the postage stamp quilt that Karen brought last week, made of her 1.5-inch squares that ultimately become 1-inch squares. She said she loved Karen's PS blocks, and she's trying to imagine how many tiny squares she has. Me too. I was trying to do the math, and I got lost. It's ultimately thousands, right? If each of those 5-inch blocks has 25 squares, so 10-inch by 10-inch has 100 squares. Anyway, she says, so, in true testament that us crazies like to stick together, Cassandra says, I'm doing something similar, she says, but I'm using 2 to 5-inch strips to create as leaders and enders. So they're 4.5-inch 4 patches. That's still small, because ultimately they become 4-inch patches, I think, right? So they're 2 by 2 instead of 1 by 1. The fabrics are Civil War and neutrals. She says she prefers shirtings. Of course, many of the 4 patches have been made from charms. There are a couple of methods. One is Scrappy 4 Patches by Jenny Doan that I like to use. Here are pics of my babies. If you ever get started on such a project, please know that they make these cute 4 patches are addicting. It's just so much fun. Oh, and these pictures are just wonderful. So each of those is literally going to be a 2-inch square. And then there they are laid out. Thank you for sharing those, Cassandra. They're great. Love them. Oh, and then I wrote her a follow-up saying, I think I might just do it. And she writes back, and she says, don't start unless you are prepared to be one addicted to these sweet little 4 patches. Yep, that'll be me. Deb C. Hi, Deb. Nice to see you out there. Deb says she has sisters too. It's a wonderful thing, isn't it? And Tanya, hi, Tanya says hi. Great to see Karen when she visits. And Ella says, hello, aren't sisters great? She has 6 sisters and 2 brothers. She's number 8 out of 14. Love to see you two getting along as well as we do. Merry Christmas. Oh, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. So then, oh, there have been a couple of folks who have offered suggestions about the seminal piecing. This is for KB, if you're out there. We have a couple of different suggestions. The chevrons that you are making on your next quilt, the one that you've designed with the little 1-inch stamps. 2 suggestions. Eileen from the West Coast says seminal piecing is one way. to make those chevrons. It wastes a lot of triangles, cutoffs, and it's all bias. It looks like 2 flying geese would be the easiest way to make them. There are so many ways to make them, but my favorite way is with the 1 larger square and the 4 smaller squares. You make 4 at a time. I'm going to forward that too because I think you have to think about it. The other comment was Jenny Doan has a suggestion, and this came from Jean, and she says, if Karen is still looking for an easy way to do chevrons for her postage stamp quilt, check out Jenny Doan's Sunny Skies tutorial. So the chevrons, check out Jenny Doan's Sunny Skies tutorial. So KB, I wanted to share that with you. Let's see. Oh, Peggy! Hi, Peg. Peg writes again. She says she's off tomorrow, and they're going to Cabarita. I hope I said that right. Cabarita, and that's down on the beach. We are taking our caravan, and guess what else is being packed in her? I bet you can't guess. A machine, she says. My Bernina is coming along. Oh, Peggy. Isn't this wonderful? I love sewing in our setup. I find nothing more relaxing. I'm currently sewing strings and strips on foundation paper. So excited you are quilting tonight. Yippee. Yes, that sounds perfect. Oh, and that's like Allie Hale is also on the water. She has set up her camper so that she can sew and she sees the water as she's sewing. It looks heavenly. Oh, my goodness. And Leslie's out there. Hi, Leslie. She says, I just wanted to wish you and yours a Merry Christmas and a safe and happy New Year from warm and muggy Wisconsin. Well, right back at you, Leslie. Merry Christmas. And can you believe how hot it is? The windows were steaming up. It's craziness. Well, Leslie, Merry Christmas. And I bet you miss it. I miss seeing the snow. People are going to think I'm crazy, but I love it just as much as it's nice to be by the water and when the sun is out and it's just invigorating. When it snows here and it's so light, it's similarly invigorating. It's a funny thing. And you don't feel guilty not going out and moving. Oh, well, wonderful. So I think I wanted to catch up. I may have missed a few more. I read everything you send in, so thank you all. And I probably didn't say that at the very beginning, that if you are seeing this for the first time, please feel free to reach out to me and to other Fibercasters either on the Simply Colorful Facebook page or on the Google page, or send me email directly to L for my first name, Lynn, marquidot@gmail.com. And I have started to think about New Year's resolutions, and probably one of them is to simplify that to a better way for you to get in touch with me. And I really, if the truth be told, I really want to figure out a website that can be shown, that's a little bit more versatile, that can be seen on any mobile device, not just from your PC. And I want to fix the links that go to Amazon, so whenever I talk about a product, you can go right there. And, the list always goes on. So I have to pick carefully what I want to spend my time on. Haven't you found, or how many of you have discovered, that time really does become the most important currency in one's life? For those of us who are used to talking in currency terms. And I'm going to stop and start, well, no, I don't like to do that. I'm going to go back up. I'd rather go over quilting than have a knot and a loose end, if that makes sense. So I've meandered too far toward the edge, and I want to get back into the middle of my quilt to minimize puckering. Anyway, I am going to give some thought to where we've been and where we're going. And thoroughly appreciate everyone coming along for this ride. It's really fun. I know I've said it before, but there is no way I could get done what I have without having this weekly FiberCast outlet. So thank you. And I know early on we tried to take FiberCast on the road, probably a few times earlier or more than I should have. But one has to believe, as we go into 2016, that the technology has to have gotten better in some places. So I do hope, I'm talking out loud now, but that would be something nice to add to our 2016 repertoire, is coming out to see you. Meeting up with you at a quilting weekend and doing a broadcast home to your family. That might be fun. Although if your family's like my family, they may not care what you're doing, but it's nice to dream and pretend. I actually had several of you write in and say that, or it was an interesting thread I saw, and I've heard several of you say some of your husbands, or do we have any male viewers yet? I don't know if we have any male viewers. We did have, up in New Hampshire, we had a male viewer. I don't know if you're still out there. But if you are, it doesn't really matter. Do other people in your life come to play with you in your studio at night? Or do you bring your sewing, say, down to where the TV is? Or how do you do that without feeling guilty about being in your own little studio? I know I mix it up with Bob. And usually, the truth be told, by the time, by 7 o'clock, my eyes are tired, and I want a change of scenery, so I go down. And I want to get better at doing handwork. Lately, I've just been Facebook surfing. Ugh, isn't that Facebook surfing going to be the death of us? But it also connects us to people like never before in our lifetime. I'm getting there. Okay, I'm going to head up to the last of this star. I'm going to take this pin out. There we go. There. This Oh Baby Baby mystery quilt that we're doing can be done with string piecing. And it's only going to be a 4-week project, I think. Because it's a baby quilt. Okay. Now, while I have this over here, let's see. All right, I'm going into the center. Now, what am I doing? I'm going to go into the gray. Just going to do some all-over meandering. Very good. This Ohio star is going to look pretty. Okay, now I have a Santa in the middle of this Ohio star, so maybe I'll try and outline him. Maybe I'll move this way. See how I ended up way over on the side? I have to finish him up, and then I have to get myself back here in the middle. But I'm over here, so why not? So what else? Let's see. I find myself getting into my Zen zone. You know how that goes. Okay. I have to take this one off. Okay. Oh, I'm curious to see what people get for Christmas presents, if they get any. Okay, I'm going to do this meandering. Did I tell you I ordered some books from Amazon? I discovered something really good. Used books. And I do have a Prime membership account, which I love, because it's free 2-day shipping. And it really does pay for itself. It really does. Because we buy vacuum cleaner bags, we buy lots of household things at or a better price than I can get them at Walmart. And so I went on and I found some Tilda doll making books. Perfect, like new condition, but they were used, and ordered them for Bob to give me for Christmas. And 2 of them just arrived, and they're packaged up. I put them under the tree, and I cannot remember which ones I ordered. How's that? Who says you need other people to entertain yourself at Christmas? Okay, so go over there. Now I'm going into this top Ohio star, and if you remember, it has little star motifs on it, so I'm going to repeat those star motifs, much bigger. but it works. And then again, because I'd rather go over my quilting rather than cut it and have loose ends that might break out. I need to get up to the top one here. Let's see, what else did I want to tell you? Ouch. Oh, the projects I found. I found another baby quilt top, all done, and I even have white minky for the back, and I just need to sit down and do this with it. I found a doll that has everything almost done except for shoes and the embroidery on her dress. Oh, I know. I found the clothes that I found at the Dumptique last summer to use for my doll making, and I want to cut them apart. In fact, I might do that right now. Something to mix it up. I can't believe I'm out at the edge of the quilt. If you guys were here in person, you would stop me. All right, I'm going to stop myself. Let's do that. There. And now, just going to go take my string right to the middle. Let's give this house some definition. There we go. This is the most unconventional outlining I've ever done. This is where I probably should write the date or something kind of unique in it. Because I don't think I have put the date anywhere. You know what? I'm going to put the date over near our Paris flag. I mean our French flag. Because as you'll remember, we worked on this. Can you believe the Paris bombings were only 6 weeks ago? Wow. And that since then we had the San Bernardino shootings. It's unbelievable. And many, many more that I'm not recounting. Okay. So now I need to get to grass. I'm going up and down like grass. Then I'm going down to where I have holly again, and I'm going to make my holly leaves. And then I'm going to cut some shirts up. Go. Make a couple of berries while I'm at it. And I'm going back to the grass of the house, and we'll go back to where we started with the tree. And then I'll hold it up and maybe you can see. I can tell I have a new needle on. Highly recommend new needles. All right, I'm literally right there where I started. Let's see what we've got. Again, this kind of, the polyester of the backing and the size of this quilt makes it perfect for your home sewing machine. Just cutting these off, and I probably, oh, you know how you're supposed to tie the ends off? I don't, because I'm not putting this on the bed, and I'm not. So, and Bernina has a little, a knot maker that you push and it kind of makes a knot. I'm not sure how well it does that. But actually what we should do is, if I had a needle, I'd thread this, I'd bring it to the front, and then where my other string is, I'd tie them together, do a square knot, and then I'd thread them both in and I'd hide the ends. Instead, I'm literally cutting them off at the source and hoping and I have to tell you, the ones that I've done like this hasn't been awful. They haven't fallen apart. If anything, I wear out the fabric by washing it more earlier than the stitching actually gives away, for me anyway. But we're all different. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this up close. You see any of that? If I twist it, see the trees? But the house, it's a little bit harder to see. I think you can see the trees. And then over here in the Santa, you see the Santa? Oh, I outlined him. Anyway, it's starting to look more quilty. It's going to be great. So, in the last like 10 minutes, let me put this aside and work on something else that is near and dear to me. I need to get my notes here. One of the things that I found when I was unpacking the studio were these clothes that I got at the dump last summer. And remember, this was a really cute skirt that had some embroidery on it, and I've used it for my dolls. And in order to pack it up in a bin, although I hate to do it because you never know what you could use, but should I do this? This is such a cute little shirt. Can you imagine? That's so small it might be able to fit one of my dolls. What kind is it? Because I love the green on the inside. Oh, it got top SO Heritage? Don't know. Extra small, made in Bangladesh. It's very cute. No, you know what? I'm not gonna cut that one up because I could use that one in a dress. Let's see, what's this? These shorts. These can be, but why? Why would I cut them up? No, I'm not cutting these up either. This is crazy. Maybe I just needed to fold these better. How about this one? This was a dress. This one I'm cutting up. This would make a nice summer dress on a Tilda doll. But before I make a summer Tilda, I want to make a Tilda Nutcracker, a ballerina Tilda. Oh, these are cute. These little yellow things, those could be used somehow. There's no end to what we can find and do with these things. I'm going to show you. So I've got these bins now for all of my, maybe instead of dolls we call them soft sculptures. So that will go in my findings bin. Oh, and there's a second one here. I'm going to cut right off. Okay. There we go. That's better. Two of them. You can make a little circus clown. And see how up at the top here there's this pretty daisy? You know, I think this dress was handmade. Now that I'm looking at the sewing. And I wonder, did it have, it didn't even have, oh no, it did have. Never mind. So these daisies, if they're easily come off, which they do, I'll take it off right now. Because then once you have these little pieces of ribbon, when you're in the midst of making your soft sculpture, aka doll, you can find these little things and audition them, and it's just, it's fun. There. So that, you know where that's going to go. This we're going to throw away. Now I'm going to leave this puckering because I've learned that you can actually use that pre-done for a dress. So maybe I'm almost done cutting this one out. Let's see. Just cut that off. Yeah. So this isn't like deboning a shirt to use the shirting for an actual flat quilt. This is more in preparation for doll clothes. as is this. This is stretchy. As is this, really, because it's so small. And the top stitching is so neat that we might be able to use that somehow in a dress or a doll outfit. This one seems heavy. I'm cutting this off. Oh, and it even has a zipper. What's cool about that is you can reuse the zipper in a bag, right? Oops. Almost cut through the button. I did. See that back zipper? Does it keep going? It does. I could literally use that in a clear pouch. I like that. So, there. I have that. I'm going to put it in my zipper box. All right. That's good enough for now. So that's pretty flat. Okay. Some Abercrombie and Fitch shorts. I should see if these fit Bob. Look at this, the tag's still in them. I think I will. Hey, I could wrap them up under the tree. I know they look tiny. Those probably won't fit him. But we'll do that. I think we might be getting almost done with FiberCast. Here's a white t-shirt. Yuck. But if you need this shirting for a doll, like a t-shirt, it's good to have. So, just going to fold that up. And all these clothes, by the way, have been washed. And then these pants are huge. Oh, they're LL Bean. Double natural fit. 40 waist, 30 length. Now, similarly, could you use that zipper? No, see, it's fraying here on the top. So someone wore these and loved them. Let's see if the zipper works well. It does, but I'm not going to play with that. But that's something good to think about. See, the end is so frayed that I'd never use that with a doll. And the question is there any good material on it? And I think there is, if I needed some sailor pants or something. So, just going to do that. What's the best way to do this? Because I really don't need that much. Well, and that's dirty. All right, and they're worn, so just need to be careful not to cut the sampler when I cut my clothes. See that? Trash! Oh, by the way, I have 5 bags downstairs of trash and that plastic bin. And I have a lot of salvaged edges. So anyone in the Marathon Quilters that might be out there, we were saving little pieces of salvage to put into a clear hassock at one point. I've given up that dream, so if anyone wants those back, I have a box and a bag. So let me know. And Carrie and Linda, I'll send you both a note. All right. So there is that. Well, I got the pile down a little bit. That'll be good. I'll go in my doll clothing making pile. These I'll put there, and I'll see if Bob can wear them. These I'll put in my little findings areas. And let's see if I heard a note, and let me make sure I covered everything. I talked about the unfinished projects. Oops. Let's make sure I haven't missed anyone. I talked about the scraps going to Kathy K. Oh, and started some paper whites in the amaryllis. So, Mom, thank you for those bulbs. They are in the rocks and in the water, and I've already started to see the paper whites coming up like that. The amaryllis, I don't know if I'm convincing myself it's grown or not. So we'll see how that works out. Hi to Carrie, hi to Chris, hi to Marquet and Norma, and all of you who have been so loyal and such good Fibercasters. Thank you. Thank you for joining. I think we're good. Sandra, she says, Siri must be hard of hearing. That was from last week. Didn't that make you laugh? Oh, my goodness. Let's see. Sue Norton, Merry Christmas. Thanks again for my ornament. Thank you all for my ornament. Wendy, thank you for the star. I meant to show that. Mom brought it to me. Thank you. And Beth, keep on going on your sampler quilt. And I think we're about Lorna and KK in San Diego. And to everyone out there, Linda, I think with that we're about ready to go enjoy some festivities here. We have Yankee Swaps. I'm doing a Patriots party in a box. So I'm bringing some beer and some nuts and some Patriots glasses and napkins and what else do I have? I think that's about it in a box. So hopefully someone at Yankee Swap over the age of 21 will get that and enjoy it. And I hope you're having a wonderful day and time today, whether it's Christmas in Australia or whether it's late Christmas Eve in the UK or if you're just looking at Christmas Eve. Anyway, thanks for joining. Have a nice couple of days, and I'll see you next Friday on January 1st, 2016. Thank you, everyone. Bye. The mouse fell down, so now I have to get it. Merry Christmas!